So Steve shit me my kid was a shit show and so much, just too busy to go on things back. I'd like to know if she could, something that we should, people in the folders that verify that you Steve shit we pass on you're there, that way. Cause he's trying to find us something, not know what it is. He's been property manager for years. I can't handle 5 pages of work. I fucking, excuse my language, it's not. But, so he's trying to figure out.
He refused to speak to me until I turned my phone off.
Other houses, that is adorable. He's supposedly helping me.
I will put it in her mailbox and I will, as soon as I screw this up.
That would be beautiful. So I drove by the bank again with all my statements, verified where I spent tens of thousands of dollars in the past year and a half and screwed from the flood. But she knows what she'd be looking for. And she just should send that information to Steve so he can start. And my phone, I always leave it out. She's nothing but a bunch of bullshit. Okay, my ringer. I don't even know if it's on here. What's there? Okay, wait, thank you, guys. I'm gonna try, I'm gonna come back whether she calls me or not,
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, cool. Tell her I apologize, I totally forgot about this appointment and scheduled it out the same time as with her. And she, give her this too, because it's got my legal aid lawyer. And, stuff there about my dog's tags, herself, all those little notes that I don't know if she was able to put through. No, I'll take that. Get a new bag on the okay, salesperson not here yet. And then the mofos don't even send you a bill. I'll put it down to 39. You know, and then 38 or
Yo, bro, do you want my cornbread? Alright.
No, crazy. We should listen.
Question. Do you know if this is a public building owned by the United States government?
We are a nonprofit organization.
You're a nonprofit? Do you know if the crisis team is a public organization?
They are part of Memorial County Mental Health.
So they're part of you guys? Okay. That's all. If it was public, I said if it was public, you couldn't stop me from filming. It's in my rights.
We are a classified medical facility and we do ask that people do not film.
I got you. That's why I'm leaving.
For safety.
But even in hospitals, the waiting room is public. Thank you. God will kill her. I heard God will fire her. And they're usually not wrong. My intuition's usually not wrong. I wish you guys could have seen that. That was a Grammy performance. She knew that I recorded YouTube. She refused to admit why she knows I record YouTube. She refused me service until I stopped recording. She was an ungrateful, mean bitch for 20 minutes. And it took me 20 minutes to get her to realize life ain't all about her. She told me to come back at 3. You guys missed it. She refused service because she's not a good person. And she knew I was gonna catch her being a horrible piece of shit. So she wouldn't talk to me, and she was going to call the police if I didn't stop recording. Then she tried to entrap me to kick myself out for 20 minutes. She got worse and worse and worse until she was literally lifting her knee up over and flung her knee at me as a fuck you, to try to keep asserting her dominance over me. That literally happened, where it got to a point where she couldn't speak. She was like, like they do in every video. And I'm just saying, who do I talk to? I'm trying to get the people's name that offered to buy me a gym membership. He told me to come into your office. I'm in your office. I just want to speak to him. I don't like the way you're talking to me. She kept repeating herself over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. If you don't like your job, don't do it. She thinks her job is to not help anyone. Right? Her job is to push out as many people as possible to make her day easier. She gets off on treating people like dogs. Well, I'm close enough to the rail trail. I can get on it with the wagon. Why do you think she'd treat me so poorly? Why was I met with such attitude? Where they were trying to shoo me out of the crisis center. It's almost like just because it's your job doesn't mean that the people do their job. It's almost like the entire mental health field is rigged just to hurt the people that are suffering by people that are miserable in their own lives. It's almost like none of it's real. I had a minute. I had a breakthrough. Look, speaking of nothing's real. How long was it muted? How long was it muted and nobody told me? 9 minutes? Fuck, we're getting clipped. Clipped. If you want to get bitches, you must clip it. Oh God. So, okay. Basically, she refused me service because she had a feeling that I might be filming. And she couldn't tell me why she had a feeling I might be filming. Then she, for 10 minutes, kept staring at me like this. And she'd go like that. While she's talking to me, she's like, and I'm like, what the fuck does this bitch think she's doing? Then here we have Palm Bears. I told you that I've been here for 2 years. I've never, every fall I'm back. And I've never seen that poster at the real estate sign outside the door that says Big Bears. So there's suddenly just a big bear sign on my way as I'm talking about maybe none of it's real. And then I look up and there's a bunch of big bears and I'm wearing the bear shirt. So I haven't shown you this view yet. Look at this amazing view, guys. Why wouldn't you want to stay here? It just sucks the police will choke you half to death and lie and harass and stalk you for months and then just completely lose their mind and tell you you're not welcome. And then a couple days go by and you realize Capstone lied. They hate the homeless people just as much as everybody else. And the homeless people don't do anything to deserve it. We're not the reason you chose to work. You're mad at them because they choose not to work. You're choosing to work. How's that our fault? You're mad that the homeless people are downtown. And you work. So you feel obligated to downtown because your taxpayer money goes into funding downtown. I get that. The problem is taxpayer money is going straight to the government and the government is deciding where the taxes go. And if you look up a little bit more past it, you realize none of that's real. The government has way more money than you realize, and it's pumping it through fake organizations like NASA to give to wealthy people who have owned the world for centuries. Their taxpayer money is not paying for downtown. The taxpayer money is worthless. And they're mad at people that figured that out and then gave up. But then the trauma that the townspeople have given the homeless has caused their addictions and their lack of respect for the community. I just showed you guys firsthand that white people lie just to attack people for no reason. And then nobody else helps. And nobody cares. And in fact, the institutions that I just went to for help shit on me publicly. So I went, in a desperate attempt to find anybody, I went to where the people at the crisis team that have violated my rights several times and committed actual crimes against me. I went there because someone there offered me help after they harassed me and entrapped me by blocking an entire McDonald's off from being enterable while 4 cops hovered around one guy trying to find a way to haul me out of the town in weather that feels just like this. It didn't get cold until the next few days. That's when it really started. When my immune system fucked up and I could no longer keep the homeostasis. So for 20 minutes, she refused to tell me, after telling me that Kathy was there, Then she said she's not allowed to tell me if the other guy was there. We'll call him Leroy. I don't know his real name. So I said Leroy offered to help me somehow, some way with a $60 gym membership. I figured he might know somebody, or he might know a program, or he might even know Claire over at the gym, who owns the gym. So I came there to get help. And for 30 minutes, she was politely yelling at me, being way too domineering and assertive for no reason, physically changing her posture to get closer to me. It seemed like, on her end, it seemed like any way she could try to exert her will over me. That's what she was going for. Her reticular activation system was geared towards destroying me, whether she has a different opinion or just a different choice of words. That was the behavior. Making deliberate choices to, one, invade my personal space, and then two, demean me. She wouldn't speak to me until she knew my phones had both been turned off and were in my pocket. You're not wrong. They're all mad at me because they have to pay for this house. And they just sit in one room of the house. They come home and sit in one room of this big house. And then look at all their garbage. All this winter trash. I'm just seeing tons and tons of electronics from the 80s that are dusty and broken in half. I see like broken records. The window has a coat blocking the window to keep the cold out. This is just abandoned. It's crazy. What kind of animal left these tracks? Who's here? They just haven't left. Somehow. And those are the guys that are on, and then the guys that work in the trucks. They wear the neon vests that go to work in factories. Those are the guys that don't go downtown, and they're advocating to kill the homeless. Because the homeless people like go up to their porch, like you saw all that shit that was on that guy's porch. The homeless people will go up and just take it all. They don't give a fuck. They'll just go like with it up there. There's like a pair of snowshoes up there. Homeless people are like, fuck, I can use snowshoes. This idiot left it on his porch. And then what have they done for me? They're like, man, I know stealing's wrong, but the entire walk over here, me personally, I got ran over. Like, I didn't get fully ran over, but people tried to, instead of swerving their car away, they swerve at me. And maybe in their mind, if they are thinking, they're thinking, I shouldn't be on the road with a wagon. And I should have been walking against traffic rather than with traffic. So if they beat me with the side of their mirror, or I get so mad, I do something, then they have reason to do more things. Like they can't outright assault me or shoot me, but if they stress me out to the point that I assault them, then they can shoot me in the face. That's where they're at. So there's a lot of people that all day are trying to get me to get myself shot in the face. And then other people that are abstinent and don't care. I don't know. I know she didn't have to stop. I mean, the only other thing I can do is go get body cam footage, and I don't know how much that's going to cost. That's the problem, is that I was saving up money and trying to save up money for a long time. The depression had hit me really bad, and at one point it did get so cold I had to go to McDonald's. Now that I've slept and I've healed a little bit, I'm kind of back in the game, but the game is, why would people play it? That's where I'm at. Why do people play emotional games for power? When, I don't know, I'd rather be a homeless animal. I thought about owning a house, like when I was there in the bed and I had a mind, my mind was put together. I had safety and structure, so I was able to kind of come to my senses a bit. My content was better. I had a breakthrough, and then immediately I was assaulted. When I lived out in the woods, I fought for 2 months. I finally figured out how to be at peace in a way that makes the crows leave me alone. I woke up to the crows trying to fight me, and they couldn't, because I had figured out how to subconsciously use my energy to set like an auric field of protection using the sunlight. So the crows were trying and they couldn't. Immediately brutalized by police, where they choked me out twice. One with pepper spray and one with his hands. Manufacturing crimes to charge me $300. And then demanding I write them apology. And then they realized they got caught, deleted all the evidence, and then stalked and harassed me for months. Trying again 3 times. Before that, I was in Montpelier, and I finally figured out how to get the crows to leave me alone again. And I woke up at peace. Everything was going well. The crows were leaving me alone. We were all, and that was tough. Montpelier was tough. You guys can go back and see my eyes were sunken. I was a shambling corpse, barely functioning. Even though I had a place to sleep and eat, it was the crows were literally stealing my energy. Like all the things that when you wake up in the morning and you feel like a presence in your body, and you're having thoughts and you're processing different thoughts about your day and about how you feel and about what you want to eat and what you think about the TV and what you think about the girl that you like, or maybe you don't like your parents. The crows will literally just steal that from you and lock you in a box where it's impossible for you to think, where you feel literal pain as they yank out the electric stuff in your nervous system and destroy your bandwidth, sort of like cutting you off from God's Wi-Fi. And you're left there in pain, no identity, struggling and suffering, and you have no idea how to think or act. So you just lay there in pain until a squirrel or a bird, like a black-capped chickadee, realize that there's something there, even though it's basically lifeless, and they will sing you back to health. So then you feed the squirrel, and then the squirrel comes back the next day, and it helps you. It does a little, and you feel a little better. And then slowly you have a relationship with the animals, and you have a relationship with the trees. And then they help you when the crows come, because the crows will come every day for it. It's delicious to them. It's spiritual energy that makes them feel better electronically. It's like it invigorates them. And then they bring it back to their swarm. So the animals will help eventually. But I had finally figured out, like I had a relationship with all the squirrels in Montpelier, and I was live streaming at night. So I had a routine going. I had defeated a lot of the people in Capitol Park. So I was starting to grow. Like my etheric energy was growing. I was building relationships in the community. People were liking me. People were like smiling when I would walk into stores. So I was coming back to life. And then a cop slammed on my tent ripped my bike away, stole my bike, and then lied to the cops about what I was doing there and was trying to forcefully trespass me from the property. Immediately, within seconds. So as I wake up and I finally found peace. And then that. So this morning I felt that. And then a woman burst into my room, demanded I leave for a rule that wasn't mentioned. There's nothing on the piece of paper that said I violated any rules. So then when she figured that out, that I was I'm someone that will stand up for himself. She can't just push him over. She looked for something else. So she's like, what the fuck is this trash doing here? You have to throw trash out every day. And I said, look, the trash is looking like there's a lot of it because I have these big juice bottles because I'm sick, I'm drinking fluids. I have a 102 fever, but I had a 102 when I got here. I had a 100 at the time. So that's underneath the trash. It's not as big as you think it is. But she wouldn't let me speak. I just continued saying it and she was screaming over me. She was yelling. Don't fucking argue with me. I said, I'm not arguing with you. I'm not gonna let you talk to me like this. I'm gonna explain myself. Because she was after my energy. She wanted me to submit so she could drain me and put me as a node in her network. I had just had a spiritual breakthrough that she felt. So she came at me any way she could. And I know that that's the case because I have pattern recognition. I can tell that I was just attacked by 6 different members of the community, plus people that swerved at me with their car, plus people that purposefully didn't help me for some reason today when they were so happy to help me a week ago for no fault of my own. Yeah. I had the window open, so they removed me from the property. And it was right after I had a breakthrough in meditation, which happens once every few months. And every time it happens, this happens. But the cool thing is, I don't really feel like crying. I don't feel bad. I don't think God deserves any love. Seems like they just set situations up to kill us. I don't think it's a benevolent God anymore. I don't think it's the white people's God. I think I'm looking for God in the wrong place. And that's why I keep getting messed up. I think God is something else than what white people have made it seem. And that's why everybody's fucked up. I think the society is messed up because the real way to God isn't... I mean, it's beautiful. Look at this. Why are the people here so brainwashed and horrible? Here's the crow, left to right, which means I'm doing something wrong. So Meals on Wheels helped me. The one organization that doesn't deal with getting the homeless people housing was the most helpful in getting homeless people housing. Isn't that crazy? The one place I went today that did not have any obligation to help homeless people get housing was the most caring and helpful, that literally talked to me and had a conversation with me where I wasn't reduced to some sick animal that nobody wants to be around. And they're just waiting for a reason to call animal control on it. Everywhere else I went today, Capstone and Lemoyne County Mental Health, I was met with sneaky, stupid little games by people that refused to treat me as a human being. They were talking down to me. They were belittling me. They go behind my back to figure out how to deal with me in the least humane way they possibly could. I was invited to go to Capstone because what happened to me was wrong by a woman that was homeless up until a couple months ago. Every time I go talk to the woman that was homeless a couple months ago, she gives me hot cocoa and a meal, and I sit there with it and we talk, and it's nice, and we all have good conversation. And then the other white people show up, and they're just ungrateful, attitude already, playing dominance power games like corrections officers do. Like they call their, I guess white, in their mind, white is right. So they can't hang out and talk with us because their principles and their ideals put them above our conversation. I wasn't allowed to sit in there and figure out what I'm doing with the rest of my life. They gave me a feed trough and they cast me out to die with no explanation. And I did nothing. I did leave my window open, but there's no rule against a window. It's just a window. She was nice to me a week ago and said, "You're pleasant. We like your company. You can be here as long as you want." To her slamming on the door, bursting into my room, pushing me out of the way. And I would call it aggressive speech. I wouldn't call it screaming, but it was an aggressive tone. And the woman was clearly in my face to the point that I wasn't able to even grab my phone. I was just sitting there and she's aggressive tone in my face, mad about trash. That isn't an issue. It was because I had a bunch of plastic bottles under napkins I was blowing my nose into. Once I moved the plastic bottles, the trash was empty. There was nothing in it. I just had a bottle that was upright in a small trash can that was holding up the trash. And that's why I'm going to be outside in the snowstorm tonight. But it's where I belong. The only way I can see these, like, God has to be as unhappy with them as I am. Because I went through that and I feel like they need to die. I feel like they need to be wiped off the earth. And coincidentally, they feel like people like me need to be wiped off the earth. Because I don't want to work a job. So there must be something wrong with me. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be anywhere a part of that. So one, that makes me un-American, that makes me a threat to the United States. And two, that makes me less than a minority. They're allowed to be more prejudiced to me because of that. They hate my presence. They call me a junkie behind my back. They talk about how they can hurt me behind my back. They talk about going up to people like me and giving us counterfeit money so that we go to jail and they never have to see us again. Instead of offering us work. They talk about killing us on Facebook groups. And then when it gets 15 heart reacts, someone goes out and does it. And that's happening everywhere right now. So it's called the Sunset Motel in Morrisville. If anybody wants to say, hey, you didn't have anywhere in the rules that he couldn't have his window open. You also didn't give him a chance to speak when he was explaining that the trash was not overflowing. He had a giant bottle in there that was recycling. So I left all my shit there. I took what I could, and I left the rest. I'm not even negative, I'm just walking. I have another 15 miles I need to go. I have to walk. If I want to leave town, the only way to leave town is by walking 15 miles. Along this trail. And I just have a feeling with these people, you never know when they're gonna lie. I had a wagon and I walked down the street. I have no idea how many people called. People in Vermont call the police all the time and lie about the behavior of people they don't like. That's where all the memes about Karens that call the cops on kids having fun and say that it was a terrorist activity or they were breaking in somewhere. I probably get calls every time I go down the street. I definitely did in Randolph. Last spring, everywhere I went, they called. I was just walking around looking for a place I could sit to make my music and listen to my headphones. And everywhere I went, I was trespassed before I even got there. And most of those facilities are mental health services. I'm just one guy. How am I supposed to fire everyone that works at Capstone and hire new people while also making my album, training guard dogs, buying property up in North Vermont, getting an RV for my father, building it, helping get land for my mom to build an A-frame cabin, help get my cousin a $2,000 computer to be able to chase his dreams while I get my own $2,000 computer to chase my dreams. I also have to work out by running. If I want to be a man and I want to get a hot girl, I have to run at least a mile to 2-3 miles a day, at least 100 weighted push-ups and 100 weighted pull-ups, at least. Then I have to train legs twice a day. Then I have to do firearms training because the world's going to end. So if I want to stay alive, I need to be able to defend myself. And I have to go to a job that doesn't drain my life force energy enough so that I can maintain the hope and perseverance I have to continue manifesting opportunities for myself. Then when that comes around, I'm glad that I put all my I'm glad that I have at least some type of personality that's attractive to women. Like I know at least when I have like 3 or 4 of those checklists, ambition, discipline, perseverance, and charisma, to like just be able to have fun and make myself laugh, self-amusement, that's at least enough to start a relationship with a girl. But then you have to stop her from letting the thrill run out and the excitement to die so that she won't find it in your friend or somebody else. Or you have to find the right one and maybe sacrifice, sexual market value for a more loyal woman that understands. That's putting it into a science. That's what that's not, right now I'm just sitting around having faith in God, and I just work hard at one thing at a time. And I had more results with just blind ambition, but I was also dating high schoolers when I was in high school. So I don't know how adults act now. These are the adults that I'm seeing. I don't want anything to do with any of them. I haven't met a single person I'd want to hang out with that's older than 20. And the kids now are not people I want to hang out with either. It was like there was a Goldilocks zone of life. And that was when I was 17 and everyone around me was 17. That's when life was perfect. And everybody got me. We were all on the same frequency pretty much. I had my gifts and they had their gifts. Everybody was just as confused, but they didn't have, like, back then, their sense of entitlement and all the stuff that's normal now, we considered mental illness and weird. Like, we thought the girls that act like all the girls we saw today were fucking weird in school. That we thought they were special ed. Because the smart people knew how to let all that shit go and just have a good time. And they had basic human decency and empathy naturally. And then there was a group of popular kids that had prideful parents that caused them to feel separate. So they couldn't hang out with the ugly, wild kids because they had to, like, maintain order. And they had, like, they knew they looked good, so they were all well dressed. They were wearing the jeans with the sweater vest, and then we were all wearing, like, hoodies and thrift store clothes. So we weren't. I would just go up and sit at the table with them and see if anybody would talk to me, and they'd all ignore me. And then I'd just go up and sit with a stranger and talk to them, and everyone would be really happy to speak to me. Back in the day, when I was a boy. And now, no girls like me. But I played their game and I posted a meme on the group chat that they haven't seen a meme in years. And I posted one that was self-deprecating. I exposed a picture of myself with my messy hair. And I posted a picture of me pointing at a bunch of mirrors, and there was like 5 or 6 of my own hand pointing in all directions. And I said, in quotes, "It's your fault Brattleboro sucks," because everybody's blaming each other for the reason that homeless people are committing crimes and that white people don't care about minorities and shit like that, which is all true. And it got like 100 likes. And like 70 comments. So I had tons of what used to be hot women, but now would be considered mid, that popped up on my suggested friends. And my profile got 30 views, which means they went to my Facebook, and then they went to my second Facebook, and then they went to my public official page for Casey O'Brien. 30 people went that far, which means it's a group of over 10,000 people. Or it might be like 8,000 now, because they did a purge. So of that, 30 people made it all the way to my public page, which takes like 30 seconds of clicks. Well, I was confused about making a decision. I didn't know if I should have stayed longer and lived in that motel or if I should have left. And I asked God to make the decision for me, and then I was attacked and forced to leave town. So the only thing I'm missing is that, like, the only loose end at this point is going to fill out a FOIA request, which means I'm going to have to go confront those cops again. And if they deny me, it's a federal lawsuit. But they might have rules about money. So I don't know what to do, guys. It's crazy. They put all this work into making me leave town. I never wanted to stay. This was not my final destination. It became my final destination because they wouldn't stop. They had done so much to me that I felt like I had to sit here and figure it out. And then it got to a point where I felt like I couldn't move because of the energy. Like I was having dreams about cops trying to rape me. And then my tarot reading would say, there's a cop that wants to do sick, disgusting things to you. And I'm so sorry you had to experience that. I woke up this morning and felt your dream and I felt called to make this message for you. I'm so sorry, whoever you are. I know you're a 33. 33 popped up in the deck twice today. I know it's 33. I know you're probably surrounded by green because I keep seeing green in your readings. Sagittarius. I'm so sorry. But your ancestors and your angels and your spirit guides are telling you here that you're supported and it's divinely appointed and you just have to get through it and you're protected. You're being led somewhere. You're on a mission. And your ancestors are just saying that they're proud of you. I'm seeing somebody's grandmother and I have a dead grandma that comes through in a lot of my readings. And they say that she says that she's extremely proud of you and not to worry about your family members. She's not happy with them. And she says that you're very brave and that everybody loves you very much. And then when the way she said brave was like very brave, and my name means brave. And I'm a Sagittarius, like that movie Brave about the Irish archer. Or Braveheart. They froze me. They froze me. They froze me, yeah. Felt like I couldn't move, and I just had to sit there and wait for the storm to pass. I was surviving bare minimum. Doesn't it feel like everything's bigger? Doesn't it feel like the whole sky is bigger? Why did they treat me this way? Because I'm homeless. You know, my birds are here. The robins are awake. Well, these people are old. Well, these people are probably older than you are. What's up, everybody? My name is Casey Francis O'Brien, and I am surviving out here in the Wild East. Here we have a little bit of birdage going on here. There's some robins that were very upset. See, they're going left to right because I'm showing the camera at them, and they don't like that. When the camera's on, it's very hard to have a connection with nature. But I just want to bring you on an adventure. So here we have my old campsite. I've been gone for about a week. It feels like a lifetime. I don't want to be here anymore. I never really wanted to. Here we have my trusty steed. Yeah, man, I've been out here in negative 40. So the plan was to fold this up, put it all in here, and get on out of here. But I got sick and I was dying. I had a 103. A 103 is dying, guys. Like, I think a 105 is you're dead, right? I was close to dying. So I hid in my wagon outside a community action program to use the heater there. And instead of coming out to help me, they called the police. And the police showed up and they kicked my wagon, they spit on the ground, and they stared me down. They were overly aggressive for no reason. I called out their behavior. They refused to accept that that's what it is. Maybe they just haven't lived on my side of the fence long enough to be able to really perceive a better way of life, a better reality than they're living in. Because to us, it seems they're trapped. And I've tried to get through to them. I cried in a Lemoyne County Health today, begging them to have any form of empathy at all. And she was frozen in place like this. And I'm like, why are you looking at me so like you're trying to intimidate me or something? And she's like, well, that's your opinion. You're projecting. They're like, no, anyone with a right mind can see the way that you're acting is fucking nuts. You're a fucking nut job, lady. I don't care how Irish you look. You're brainwashed. So I don't want to be here anymore. That was kind of I have enough to buy a gym membership. I've got $84 now. Thanks to 3 generous, kind donators, and then my aunt and my mom kicked up some money. Which is good for them. They're just as generous, but they've also done enough to me that I feel like they owe me some. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if they went through half of what I've been through, they would never let it go for the rest of their life. If they've been through like a couple minutes of what they did to me, I think they would hold it against, if I did to them like barely anything close to what they did to me. Ostracization, prejudice, gaslighting, choosing a story you made up in your mind because you believed in yourself versus actually seeing what's outside of you, taking me for granted. And then you choosing wrong, choosing their bad habits over their son. Dangling a motorhome in front of my face that he wasn't using because I had to learn how to make it on my own. But people were trying to rape me on the street, and I was having to fight people, sometimes almost to the death. Every lesson they thought they needed to teach me, they have no idea because they've never done it. But every lesson that they wanted me to learn, you learn on your first day out. I know it's easier to get a job than do this. I know nobody's coming to save me. I'm not entitled to asking you for help. I'm not saying you need to help me. I was begging. But in the end of it all, man, I'm happy. I'm happy that I survived it. I'm grateful for the sexual abuse and the monsters that I've met and slain alone. I'm grateful nobody helped me. But I feel like at this point, the only way is I need to see them die. The only way for my life to make sense at this point is if the people, all these enemies that did me wrong, get what they deserve to justify the horrible things that I've been through. It's been a storybook legend so far. It's been an amazing journey. It needs to end with these monsters getting what they deserve. Life is beautiful. It's perfect out here. Look. It's a Tuesday, and it's the quietest this place has ever been. For some reason today, on my last day here, the noises have just stopped. There's no cars. There's no trucks. There's no yelling. There's no people walking by on the rail trail acting like NPCs, staring at me through the trees, making me feel really uncomfortable. And then coughing and stomping and yelling, trying to steal my power from me. This is what I've been praying for. I have a fever. What's up, guys? You watch Nickelodeon Slime. You watch Freaky Friday or Fear Factor with Joe Schmogan. Yo, what if the demons in the Bible are another race of beings that have horns? They're not emulating goat horns. They have horns. No, I could buy a cab. The other place, they want 24 hours in advance, but today is a 5-day in numerology. So it's a day of travel. So it seems like the way is open. Everything is calm and peaceful. So I'd rather go today, find a way to charge my phone in Jeffersonville. And then if I want to come back, it's just a 10-mile trek. I'm trying to lose weight anyway. I know the world is my oyster. I know it's my simulation. I was told last night on a tarot reading, or this morning right before she freaked out, that the gift God gave me now is that I'm not affected anymore. I can go anywhere and do anything. They burned all my karmic ties for me. That was the present, is that they shattered all the relationships with my friends and family over for the past 1.5 to 2 years. The gift was they've been working to destroy anyone that hated me in a way that they can't touch me anymore. And that's why this woman is desperately trying. She wanted to be a new karmic because they had just blessed me by not having any toxic relationships affecting me. So then someone desperately came at me to try again. And everyone I spoke to today desperately came at me to try again. because it's like this somehow they don't realize they're controlled. And I think I'm only not controlled because I'm an Aquarius moon 33 life path. I think that I'm literally floating outside the simulation in some point in the back of my mind, because I grew up in isolation, that whatever's plaguing most of the people, I've just built a resistance to through perseverance and suffering. Or maybe I'm blessed. But I can feel their energy. All the people that I spoke to today, they still were, they lost motor function. They lost control of their mouth and their mind. They lost control of their body. They started shaking. Desperately trying to talk over me for a made-up problem that I had no, I chose to record in the building. I chose to open that window. They did not have to come out screaming at me and screaming at me. I would call it aggressively charged words. If it was a legal case, I wouldn't say screaming. I would say they had an aggressive tone and they were sort of verbally punching me. Hear the crow? Means it's time to go. What's my charge? 14%, guys. The crow has now turned around. He's circled around me and it's a robot crow. It's the same robot crow. I call out when there is a robot crow. I know the difference. He's fucking with me now. And there's an eagle. So there's an eagle that showed up to help. And then there's a seagull flying above the eagle. And they're looking for the crow. Unless it's a baby eagle. It's a bald eagle and it's a very small bird flying with the eagle. In the same direction as it. Can you see it? Yeah, you can see it. I mean, where the eagle is flying was where I was trying to set up my campsite before, where I was going to hold out for the rest of the winter. I'm sorry, the depression's starting to set in. I'm just putting my phone in my pocket, and I'm going to button my pants back up. Do you hear him? He's just standing over there on the tree. I'm gonna go to Johnson and drop my shit off at the food shelf. I'm in Mooresville. Jeffersonville is on the rail trail, 10 miles. It's 10 miles to Johnson, which that's not bad. It's gonna suck to it's gonna suck, but it is what it is. I guess I had a feeling I could go to McDonald's and then go at night. Get lost, bitch. I told the capstone we're gonna get lost, bitch. Because they said they couldn't help me other than giving me some orange juice, and I'm going to freeze to death outside when the police have been known to almost kill me. So What the fuck do you think's going on in their heads? You think they felt they had helped me enough? Or do you think I was just gonna ask them for help for a ride? You know what I'm saying? And they had already just given my room to somebody else. That's what that RCT bus was there for. They had already helped somebody else and gave them my room, knowing what happened to me. So they collectively decided not to help me anymore. That it was a subtle fuck you for no reason. I'm in Mooresville. See how the crow's getting more aggressive the more that I'm packing to leave? And it's calling to me from left to right. It flew right above my head, left to right. Are you ready to wake up? Are you guys ready to realize this isn't real? It's a stage. A stage where they kill Dr. Sebi and Nipsey Hussle. And they put candy in the clink. Well, maybe it's just saying to leave this stuff so that when I want to come back here, I still have a campsite. So that's what I'm going to assume. The voice in my head said, "You assumed wrong." Why would I want to stay here anymore? There's nowhere I can even charge. I guess I could get back on the wagon and go. I know that there's a place to hide nearby. And then maybe tomorrow. Because the police station is here. So if I want to audit the police, then maybe they'll hurt me like they usually do. So if they hurt me, I can get money. And also, I need to fill out a FOIA request, and I don't know how much that's going to be, because I need 4 different body cams. And I think they charge $30 per body cam. So I only have enough for 2. And I guess I only really need 2. But my lawyer is about 2 miles away. So he hasn't been helpful. And I mean, he stood up for me in the court. He yelled at everybody about what was done to me. But all the lawyers that he suggested help me say we're going to talk to him. And then they would call me back. And then they talked to him. And then nobody ever called me back. And I had to said that the lawyer purposefully wouldn't let me because somebody paid him to sweep it under the rug. So I might have called the wrong guy. And instead of getting $100K from the department, they paid off $2K to figure out how to avoid that 100. And I have people on the internet leave it. Yeah, because this is also where the grocery store is. And I have a second tent. And I don't have room for anything else. Okay. We're going to leave. I don't care anymore. I have places I want to go. I mean, worst case scenario, I know the food shelf might be able to drop my stuff back off here. There's really nowhere to go. So I'm headed that way. The crow has just flown over my head again and is just sitting on a tree left to right where I'm trying to go. So that's an obvious omen. There's a big W in the sky. And now it looks like an arrow that's going that way. Which is towards Mount Mansfield, which I'm going the long way, or I would be going the long way around to the ski mountain. I'm gonna ask God, please, if I'm not supposed to go, make it fly over my head one more time left to right. You're just waiting there. You've done this much to me. I will stop and come back. Maybe they want me to empty this into totes and put the totes up to make it easier. I don't give a fuck. Fuck you. I'm suicidal. I'm not staying here. And it's not because anything they did. It's not because they ran me out of town. It's because I just don't want to be around people like them. Isn't that crazy? They didn't have to do anything to me to make me leave. Nobody wanted to stay. Clipped. Why are people so mean to me? I was gonna buy my lawyer a pizza. The next time I saw him, I wanted to buy him a pizza. Phone's at 7%. I'm walking to Johnson right now. All right. So, after what the cops did to me, I was stuck in like a permanent state of confusion and fear, and I was having trouble getting control of my own mind because I was always worried about what was going to happen to me. That I literally was like dropping things on the ground and I couldn't function to pick them up. I was like, I just need to literally sit here, and I know I'm healing as long as I sit here and I have my McDonald's and I can watch my YouTube videos. I can feel that I'm slowly healing. So I just did that every single day. And then the trash, sometimes I would leave trash, and that little bit of trash got them so mad. They tried to have me trespassed and it didn't work. The owner said no. So then they locked and they put signs up. And then I talked to them and they said that they had my SD card and they saw my stupid little weird videos. I looked at my SD card and there's scenes of music videos where I'm like rapping on a car and I'm like dancing at my childhood home. And the cinematography was pretty cool. I like those scenes a lot. So they were so belittling over nothing. It's going to take me about 6 hours to get there. My phone will die in like 30 minutes. My wrist hurts a lot. Yeah, it's already at 5%. Maybe it's telling me not to rush. And then call them tomorrow to get a ride to Jeffersonville. And maybe I should just be patient here and sleep. You think anybody called the motel? Should I go back at 3 o'clock? I can't. I'm not able to read chat. No. I mean, the Eagle literally told me it flew over where I should park my stuff. Please give me something. The noises are picking up again. One bird. I know you gave me 4, and you gave me hundreds of red cars. Was I just supposed to sit in the motel room and ask to talk to the owner? Or was I supposed to say like, hey, I'm sorry you feel that way. I don't know what you're looking for. You can't talk to me the way that you talk to me. Were you trying to press me? I just don't get why anyone would do that to me. And then everywhere else I went, they did it. Which, I'm not fucking retarded. I get that makes me go introspective, like maybe there's something about me. But literally a week ago, I'm just walking around places. I'm rested. I'm sensitive, like I'm hyper focused and able to really recognize people's behavior. So of course I'm going to stand up for myself. I'm not going to do it hostile. Was it did they recognize something in me that made them feel traumatized? So I became a threat because I had destroyed my trauma through meditation. So they had to like, it felt more like a satanic power play. Just the way they spoke to me and how happy they were to see me starting to get upset, like they were winning. In a game I didn't ask to play. Where's the karma? Can I get one bird flying right to left if I should not do this? And if I should go back and try a different approach than running far away from where the bus route is? Worst case, I can walk to Johnston and then take a bus back. But I left my Mr. Buddy heater there. Like maybe the crows are just saying I'm too triggered right now and I'm not thinking things through. I didn't organize any of my stuff. I didn't even take anything out of my tent. Because I felt like I had to go now to get away from everyone before my phone dies. So that makes sense. If that's the case, can I get a bird? Please. They give me birds on command all the time. I can call out cars. I can ask for the color of a certain car to give me a confirmation, and I'll get 3 of them. I followed my intuition to winning lottery tickets and to famous people. But right now it seems like they've been trying to destroy that all day. It's in spiritual war. And I got all the bad signs. Red cars and crows trying to run me off the road and flying directly above my head in circles. But this seems like the right thing to do. I stood up for myself. I didn't take it to a hostile place. And then when it obviously wasn't working, I left. And now she has the karma of leaving me out in a snowstorm tonight. It's going to be a big snowstorm. So why would she freak out about the window so much? And then freak out about an overflowing trash can. And that was cause for them to kick me out. They deal with violence all the time. They deal with people probably assaulting them. So why would they do this to me? It has to be some type of nepotism where they want that room for somebody else. And I was the least likely to die out here. So they had to manufacture a problem, and they found one. Or she was having a bad day, and she was taking it out on me. But why would they need 2 people at the door just to tell me to close the window? Unless they knew they were going to push it to a place where I might react. They could have called me. They called me once and I missed it. They could have called me again. Why did they assume that I was coming from a hostile place? And they couldn't hear a single thing I said. Everything I said, she started screaming over me. And she thinks that she's the right one. Why did my mom leave me when I was young? Is it? I can't see what the view looks like, but this is the mountain. I'm sure it looks cool. I had to cry for a little bit. It's all good. It's all good. I'm just getting a thumbnail. Yeah, my mom used to promise me that she was going to see me on a visit, and I was locked in a place that was very abusive, and they would consider it kind of psychological torture, but they called it treatment. And there was this big window to my room that had a little crack in the window, so you could see out of it, because nobody was allowed to know who was in the building, and it was a converted house. So my mom lived about 2 miles up the road, and I'd wait to see her all week, and we'd talk about her showing up all week, and then she just wouldn't show up. So I'd sit there waiting out the window for 6 hours, hoping that at some point she'll come back. And then she wouldn't answer the phone. And she'd do that every day. So I'd have to sit there. And it was just me and all the other kids, and we would just take turns. I don't think I cried. I never cried. But then I'd be dating a girl, and she wouldn't answer the phone. So then all the build up from that mixed with what had just happened. And I can remember one time my mom left me at Mulberry Bush. And then one time she gave me away. She gave me away twice. I had to fight my dad to the death, and then she gave me to the government. I don't think she even hugged me or said goodbye or anything. She just didn't want to be a mom anymore. She's white. She's not entitled to care about me. She's entitled to her pretend world. And I'm only able to fit in as long as it fits in the way she wants. I wish I shot those guys. Took their snowmobile. So this is where I tried to go down that road that leads around this lake so that I could and I found a really cool spot, but then there was a guy that works for the same people as the cops, that type of person, you know, that wears the fake army patch. So he suggested I leave town entirely. Not just that I wasn't welcome to put a tent beside a riverbed where no one else is going to go because they're legally not allowed to go there. Just long enough for me to get my life in order, because I was still hunting for a job every day. This is Bridge 56, that adds up to 11. This is an 11 right here. One on either side. It's not real. And then we have VAOT, Lemoyne Valley Vale Trail, and it's 5:24. 2 and 4 is 6, 5 and 6 is 11. So somehow, coinky dink, it's 11:11 right here that I'm transitioning past on my ascent to Johnson. When I came to meet a girl named Jessie Johnson, and that's how I wound up in northern Vermont in the first place. Here we have an unmarked van. And then I wound up with Jesse Myers, and then spoke to Jesse Clodius for a month while I was speaking to Jesse at the dollar store. Jesse Clodius ended up working at a dollar store. Then left, and I hid behind a vending machine, and I was hiding in the dryer to make it through winter of 2022. And then a guy named Jesus from Chicago, who was indigenous, gave me enough money to travel around. And then for my birthday, another indigenous man, Nate, gave, I don't know how much he gave me, but I'd been through so much, I just drove until I ran out of money. Because I'm like, I know I don't want to leave Burlington, but I need to get out. So I drove looking for a better place to be, and also looking for a coat. And then I drove a gas guzzler. So eventually I ran out. Pretty quickly, actually, I ran out. I drove for like 12 hours that day, driving around all of New England, or all of northern Vermont, looking for a quirky little town where the first place I entered was nice enough and felt like home. I was looking for the I Am Legend movie, when he gets out of New York City and he looks for safety, and then the Vermont town opens up and all the fat old white people hug him and let him in. And instead, pretty much everywhere I went, it was just cops violating my rights, trying to do the same thing that all these fat white women did to me today. Discriminate. So I don't know, should I mean, either way I wasn't welcome, but she made it clear several times if I tested her again by just continuing to speak while she was yelling at me about nothing, that she would get the police involved. And I knew that it was going to be word of mouth, and the police already don't like me. They've already tried to manufacture crimes in front of my face to anyone that wanted to help them do it. And the only reason that they didn't was because they knew I had them on camera. So the community action workers shut up. But this time they refused to help me. Flat out. Literally locked me out. So I think God is waiting for the right person to shoot him. And that person is not me. That person is an old man who is probably a veteran that's probably endured much worse of a life than I did, and he gets the satisfaction of dismantling this corrupt, grotesque, horrible people living in such a beautiful place. Like, look, nobody lives here. If I put a tent here, I'm gone the next day. Someone will call the cops. If I put a tent here, I'm liable to get shot by any one of these snowmobilers that had a bad day. And they're doing it to people across Vermont right now. They're just going out and killing them right now, guys. There's a good chance I'm going to die out here if I don't cut my hair, and I'm not going to. You know what I'm saying? You can't hide from that fact any longer. God is going to force you. I can't wait to see what happens to you guys. If this is what I'm getting, imagine what you're going to get. Okay. I've made it a quarter of a mile, guys. We have 9 3/4 more to go. At least they're old. I still have 20 years before I wind up like them. Red truck. The only car that's come by is a red truck. Did I ask for a red truck right to left if I should stop? I can't remember, and I can't read chat. No, I asked for a red truck if I shouldn't. But it was going right to left. Could just as easy. It's at 1%. I'm always only like a couple. I used to spend my McDonald's money. Like I used to spend all my money on McDonald's because I was this close to buying a rope. Like I used to be afraid to get money because I knew that I'm brave enough to kill myself. So I would spend it before the pain set in because I knew it would be very easy to go to Abishans and buy a rope and kill myself. I could do it in an hour right now. I know how to do a noose. I've hung myself before. I just did it with an extension cord instead of a rope, and the extension cord broke because I'm heavy. That's the only reason I survived. I don't think my mom understands that. I've driven my car 100 miles an hour into a pole. And I've hung myself. And I've taken every pill in somebody's house before, including all of mine. And then I drifted off and woke up puking. And then I did it again twice. So then I thought, fuck it, I'll just go to the city. I'll just go to Miami for a weekend. That's where everyone's dying, right? That's where gang violence is, and I'm a cracker. So if I go down there, I'll die. And then everybody liked me. And then I realized that white society is the problem the whole time. It's just these guys. It's always been these guys. They're the ones that are brainwashed. They're the ones that have the problem. They're the ones that are the slaves. They're the ones that are getting psyoped. It's white people. I'm not suicidal. There's an invasive species in my homeland. Clipped. Get clipped. Okay. Well, I have enough that I could stop and get a coffee at the coffee shop. That doesn't seem bad. And then maybe I could ask if anyone is hiring. And I'll just put my hood up so people don't think I'm indigenous. And then I can use their bathroom and I'll take a big, large dump and I'll put my headphones in and everything will be okay. Hey, we got a bunch of snow that fell right to left. Hey, the power of optimism. And manifesting a brighter tomorrow regardless of external circumstances. We do not let it dictate our internal condition. Yeah, maybe I would have liked to go back and sleep in that in my tent. I'm just worried they're gonna tether me back into the system like they've been trying, and then I'm gonna have to. I was worried they're all gonna siphon me away, and I'm gonna wake up like an animal again, and I'm gonna forget the clarity of mind I achieved the past week. And then I'll make a fool of myself on the internet more. That's what I was worried about. I knew they were trying to steal my power. So I didn't want to accidentally get locked into a karmic tie. We're about to see some chickens, I think. There's a treehouse nearby that has a bunch of chickens under it. This is the Vermont that Noah Kahn sings about not being able to escape from. Okay.